Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Senate Finance. Got a few bills to run through today. We'll keep it short and to the point for you. I'd like to thank our Sergeant at Arms, John Boyette, Tequila Cogdell, John Enlow, Sherry Hedrick, and Hal Roach. Thank you, folks, for being here and taking care of us today. We've got some great pages with us this afternoon. Pages, if I could have you come up to the mic there, turn it on, and tell us who you are and what district you represent today.
Hi, my name is Polina Matsukovich. I'm from Monroe, and my senator is Berger.
Hi, I'm Julia Carter. I'm from Mebane, and my sponsor is Senator Amy Galey.
Hi, I'm Chloe Gall. I'm from Fayetteville, and my senator is Senator Mick Kennis.
Hi, my name is Steve Morrell. I'm from Durham, and my senator is Natalie Murdoch.
Hi, I'm Nick Chung. I'm from Chapel Hill, and my senator is Senator Meyer.
Fantastic. Thank you all so much for being with us this week. We're going to get started with Senate Bill 118. We have Senator Lazzara here to present the bill. And Senator, I understand we have an amendment. You want to go ahead and tackle that first? Or?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to go ahead and go through the bill first and then do the amendment.
Perfect. The floor is yours, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Members of the committee, Senate Bill 118 just aims to set some parity as it relates to concealed handgun fees for individuals who have been discharged honorably under general honorable conditions from our military services, basically our veterans. As it exists today, there are two different fee structures. If you are a retired sworn law enforcement officer, your handgun permit is $45, your renewal is $40, but if you're a veteran, it's $80 for a fee and $75 for a renewal. And so we're just bringing that in line with the retired sworn officer, law enforcement officer, but basically just making it equal. We want to thank our men and women in uniform, and we believe this is appropriate, and there's no opposition, Mr. Chairman. And then I do have an amendment at the appropriate time.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Senator Lazzara. Please send forth your amendment.
Do you have a copy of it? It's already been.
Yep. Members, it should be in front of you.
Yes, sir.
Senator Lazzara, you're recognized to explain the amendment.
Thank you. This is amendment number S118-ABA-6 version 8. And what this does is we require the Sheriff's Department to send out by mail notifications when a concealed permit is coming up for renewal. And having that implemented, what we find in military communities is that they're having over a 40% return on those letters, essentially wasting a lot of money. And what this amendment does is give an option for the permit holder to get an email instead of a mailed copy, thus saving quite a bit of money for the departments.
All right, thank you. We've got a motion from Senator Lazzara. All in favor of the amendment, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Amendment carries. Bill is back before us. Senator Lazzara.
No further comments. Be glad to answer any questions.
See a motion from Senator Johnson. All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Senator Applewhite. Yes, ma'am. You're recognized.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask the bill sponsor a question.
Proceed.
Thank you. Perhaps more of a recommendation, Senator Lazzara. I read through the identification that is required, and I looked through my wallet to find both of mine, and the bill cites the VA ID card. When most retired people get a card that is issued by the Department of Defense.
It's a DOD card.
It's a DOD card.
That's acceptable.
That is acceptable, but also that the VA card is now only electronic. They no longer issue hard copies, so I would...
Mr. Chairman, we can look into that and maybe create an amendment for the floor if we need to clarify that. We'll work with staff. Thank you for that. Very good point.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all.
Sounds
The ID
good.
card system continually changes with DOD, so that we just need to adapt with that. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Lazzara. Without seeing any objection, Senator Lazzara moves for a favorable report to the bill as amended.
I have a question.
Senator Newton, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It may be more for staff. It's just for clarification. on the amendment with the electronic communication, is this applicable to everybody that's a concealed carry permit holder, or just the veterans and the?
It would be for everyone.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? All right, let's send this one home. Senator Johnson moves for a favorable report to the bill as amended and rolled into a PCS, unfavorable to the original bill with a referral to rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Lazara. Moving on to Senate Bill 479. Already voted? Yes, sir. Yeah. You want to vote again? We can. Any objections? I want to make sure Senator McGinnis is happy up here. We're good to go. Senate Bill 479. And Senator Sawry, you're recognized for the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe there's an amendment. If we want to go ahead and hear that first.
Members, the amendment should be before you. Senator Bergen?
Yeah, I want to send forth the amendment, and I'll attempt to explain it, and if need be, we'll get staff to help. Okay, it's going to make a few changes to the bill since it was heard in the Senate Commerce. First, it changes the definition of independent pharmacy from 3 to 5 pharmacies under common ownership. It also adds a definition of retail community pharmacy that applies in limited circumstances in Section 3.2. Second, it makes some adjustments to the fiduciary duty language for both PSAOs and PBMs. Third, this extends the deadline of DHHS reporting to allow time to set up the structure to report the drug pricing. And fourth, it makes technical amendments to the RFP language related to the state health plan.
Thanks, Senator Bergen. Anybody want to speak to the amendment? All in favor of the amendment, please state by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The amendment carries and is back before you in the bill. Senator Sawry, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This has been one of the most complex bills I think I've been a part of in my short time here. Jason Moran Bass, if he's somewhere in the room, would probably vouch for that, being this version about 34 of the legislation. But this is the Senate's attempt to regulate the pharmacy benefit management issue that we have in North Carolina. As everybody in this room probably knows, this is it's a $1 billion marketplace for prescription drugs, and we're hearing constantly from our independent pharmacists about how PBMs and the marketplace just currently isn't working. This bill takes great strides towards reporting transparency requirements for PBMs. It also addresses the issue of PSAOs. PSAOs are an equal part of the marketplace. I believe they should be at the table and part of this conversation with transparency and a fiduciary obligation to the independent pharmacies. Some of the big kickers in this particular bill deal with the reimbursement acquisition cost piece and how rebates are considered at point of sale with consumers. Oftentimes you go to a pharmacy, you obtain a drug and you don't have the benefit of the rebate. Under this legislation, the rebate will go back to the consumer and the payor in this particular instance. The acquisition cost is such that pharmacies are no longer in a position where they have to dispense a drug where they're losing money, and it levels the playing field with respect to pharmacies that are not part of vertically integrated instances. When I embarked on this bill and started working on it, I learned that North Carolina would actually mandate a pharmacy to dispense a drug at a loss. I don't know of any other industry in the state of North Carolina or in the United States where you by law are obligated to sell something at a negative cost to you. This stops that process and makes sure that pharmacies have the ability to protect their business interests while also being mindful of their professional responsibilities. I want to thank my co-sponsors on this bill. I want to thank staff too. Madison Holligood, she's over there in the back. We have put in countless hours on this legislation, and glad to stand for any questions and would appreciate the committee support.
Thank you, Senator Sawry. Are there any questions or comments? Senator Alexander, you're right.
I'd like to thank the sponsors for this bill and at the appropriate time move that it be approved.
Anybody else? Go ahead, Senator Heiss.
So I'm going to ask this question and I've raised some of where my concerns are, but if I go to a particular, one of my constituents goes to a particular pharmacist in my hometown and they have a medication that person needs, but because the pharmacist has signed a contract with someone else to sell it for a different rate and made it unprofitable, they can refuse to sell it. But does the pharmacist have to now ensure that the patient can actually get their medication or tell them where else they can purchase it? or who else would have it that would actually sell it to them. I'm really trying to get into, I mean, I have a lot of constituents who are literally, whether it's the county transportation vans or others that can get to one single pharmacist, who would now have their medication, but under some other contract they weren't a part to is now not selling it to them. And how are we not creating a real impediment here towards somebody being able to fill theirs when, you know, driving 30 minutes may not be the simple application that it is for some of us?
Sure. Thank you for the question, Senator Hayes. I think we've talked about this a little bit maybe in healthcare, but I would disagree, I think, with the premise of the question that it's a simplified contract that exists between pharmacy and PBM, that a reimbursement rate of a certain amount is going to exist. You know, oftentimes the pharmacies don't really know or understand what their reimbursement rate is going to be in with respect to that particular PBM. They don't go and enter into a contract with PBM 123 saying, if you sell me Keytruda, then I'm going to get reimbursed $1 or something along those lines. You know, the rates fluctuate. The rates sometimes are opaque. And I think that's where the fiduciary obligation comes into play here between the PBMs and the PSAOs, because a lot of your independent pharmacies are relying on the PSAO to negotiate that contract, handle the reimbursement rate on the back end with the independent pharmacy, and actually doing the interface with the PBM, which is why I think it's important to have them at the table in this particular instance. There's a customer relationship, a transactional relationship, I think, that would exist there in that particular way. I think that part one of that addresses your question specifically on the reimbursement rate is a lot of the marketplaces are vertically integrated with some of these people, and some of the big dominant players have the vertically integrated retail pharmacies. And the arguments that you're hearing made is that the vertically integrated pharmacies, PBMs, are using their market power to put pressure on your independent pharmacy. So the playing field is not level. So the reimbursement language, it's twofold really. It addresses what the floor can be so that, you know, everybody is essentially being treated on equal footing regardless of where you're part of an integrated entity like affiliated with a PBM or insurer. And then also it gives you the option, just like if somebody goes into your shop and offers you $5 for a product, but you've got $7 of cost in it, you don't have to sell that product to that person. They have every opportunity to go down to the next store and make that same offer to them. Perhaps they'll take it. It doesn't require them to do that. It gives them the option to do it, and then provides that the pharmacist shall provide a recommendation for a mail order or other pharmacy that'll do that. Another part of this too, and you know, Senator Hayes, you and I have some rural communities that we represent in our district. So we recognize there are pharmacy deserts in North Carolina. So the first part of this bill actually addresses, you know, how can we, you know, build out network adequacy and capacity with our retail pharmacies in some of these communities, and allows an ability for a independent pharmacy or a non-affiliated pharmacy to locate in a pharmacy desert, which is defined using the Medicare definition of what a pharmacy desert is, and then counties under a certain population, which you know, several of your counties in your district would certainly fall in this, and allow there to be an enhanced reimbursement rate for those particular places to incentivize them to try and provide that drug to that person that you just referenced.
Follow-up.
You're recognized for a follow-up, Senator Hayes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and maybe I'll leave this more as a kind of comment. If a pharmacist is unaware of what their contracted rate is for reimbursement, I'm not sure how they're making the determination that they shouldn't sell it to a particular customer because they would lose money when they don't know what's been agreed to in their contract for the reimbursement. And I guess where I'm just least comfortable with this is clearly a fight between pharmacists and PBMs that's coming in, but I think we're reaching the point, the only loser is the customer who showed up just to get their medication and is now denied being able to get their medication. And that's kind of the outcome. There's more in the bill, and there's a lot of other things in the bill that come to that, but in this particular situation, we're denying a customer what they need. And so I think I'll leave it with that. I think we've expressed that before, but I hope that there's an adequate mail order network or pharmacy network to be able to ensure that people get what their doctor says they need to be taking.
We'll let Senator Sari wrap this up, and we'll
as respectfully as I can disagree with one of my senior appropriations chairs. I would disagree that the process is that simple, where they know on ahead of time what the cost is going to be and what the reimbursement rate is going to be, and that is one of the most common complaints of the system as it's currently set up. The reimbursement rate fluctuates, the cost fluctuates, it changes, and they know at the time of the point of sale what that's going to be. But they are locked in and obligated based on the terms that are sometimes dictated to them without a lot of room for negotiation, what that is going to be, and they're stuck with making the choice. Do I sell something to somebody at a $200 loss, or do I send them elsewhere? And by law, they don't have that choice right now.
Mr. Chair.
All right, Senator Moffitt.
Thank you. As riveting as this discussion has been, this is the Committee on Finance. So is the PSAO fee, is that the only reason why this bill is before this committee, or are there other finance components to the bill for us to consider?
The chair was giving it a little latitude today, Senator Moffitt, but yes, respectfully, we will move on. I do have one speaker, Hayes Griggs from Blue Cross Blue Shield, North Carolina, if you'd like to give us a few words of wisdom, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Hayes Griggs. I'm with Blue Cross North Carolina, as you said. Members of the committee, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to provide comment today. Also want to thank Senator Sari and staff for your work to address this important issue. Our organization is supportive of the SCRIPT Act, as we believe it takes comprehensive view of the pharmacy ecosystem to provide vital consumer protections for North Carolinians. The bill also provides key flexibilities for rural independent pharmacies in North Carolina, entities which are integral to some of our more isolated North Carolina communities. The SCRIPT Act shines a light on the full picture that all pharmacies can ensure they're getting the best prices for their consumers. The bill allows small pharmacies to be protected from taking significant losses on prescriptions and provides them the ability to negotiate unique contracts that best fit their and their customers' needs. In addition, the SCRIPT Act's provision requiring rebates to be passed on to the consumer at the point of sale is a huge win for North Carolinians. This will get savings directly into patients' hands and disrupt the current system that obscures the true cost of drugs by incentivizing consumers and doctors to select high-cost treatments. We urge you to stay on course on this bill and keep the focus on consumers, mom-and-pop pharmacies, and pharmacies operating in pharmacy deserts. With the passage of these provisions, we can help independent pharmacies survive and thrive in rural communities and pharmacy deserts while ensuring that all North Carolinians have access to more affordable health care no matter where they live in our state. Again, Blue Cross North Carolina is supportive of this bill. Thank you to Senator Sari, to staff, and Mr. Chairman, and the committee for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Griggs. Seeing how I saw Senator Alexander have a motion a little while ago, we're going to go with Senator Alexander moves for a favorable report to the bill as amended and rolled into a PCS, unfavorable to the original bill with a referral to rules. Senator Alexander, was that what you said earlier? Wonderful. And Senator Sari, congratulations. We will advance Senate Bill 479 on. We will. Yeah. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I was trying to keep Senator Heiss from having to answer. I didn't know where he was. I was just trying to move on. Senate Bill 310, Senator Britt.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members. Again, all this bill does is it allows for county commissioners to have a look-back period where folks apply for religious tax exemptions. And I think there's an amendment. We can run the amendment first.
I believe Senator Craven has an amendment.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Folks, this amendment before you simply changes the look-back period from 3 years to 5 years.
Any questions or comments on the amendment? Seeing and hearing none, all in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. All opposed say no. Unanimous, ayes have it.
Bill is back for you, Senator Britt.
Unless anybody has any questions, I can answer them. But if you,
I'm seeing some movement from Senator Newton. Everybody good? All right. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Senator Newton had moved for a favorable report to the bill as amended and rolled into a PCS unfavorable to the original bill with a referral to rules. Thank you very much, Senator Britt. Your bill advances forward. We will finish up with Senate Bill 387 by my co-chair, Senator McInnes. You are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, this is an existing piece of legislation. It's been with us a while. It's done some great things. Needs a little tweak on it, and we're doing that today. I want to thank my bill sponsors, Senator Moffitt and Senator Jarvis. We've worked together on bringing this forth this legislation, and what it does is just authorizes an additional exclusionary period of 5 years for subsequent qualifying improvements made to the property, and it provides that the exclusion would apply to qualifying improvements made after the Department of DEQ provides written confirmation that the property is eligible for a brownfield agreement. Currently, only improvements made after the agreement is executed are eligible. So what it does, it moves everything forward rather than waiting on a bunch of bureaucrats here in Raleigh. And we love our bureaucrats, but sometimes they're a little slow, and we need to make things happen. The brownfield is a problem in rural North Carolina where these old plants have closed, left contaminated sites. This is a way to turn them into productive sites with jobs and with opportunity for all. I commend the bill to you.
Right. Without seeing any questions, Senator Overcash moves for a favorable report to the bill with a referral to rules. All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Folks, one courtesy of the chair, I noticed some of our North Carolina commercial real estate developers walked in the back of the room. Folks, if you could stand up, I'd like everybody to recognize you. Appreciate you guys being in Raleigh with us today. Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you. All right. Without any further business, finance is concluded.